have now tuned into Insight Sundays, the show that brings you relevant news, youth topics with a new mission and focus for our communities. Here's your host, Adrian Mickens.
What's going on, Indianapolis? And welcome to another edition of Insight Sundays right here on AM 1310 The Light. As always, we have to give a shout out to all of our sponsors, which are Andrew J. Brown Academy, Buttons and Bows Hair Salon, Bethesda Temple Southeast Campus, New Vision Lighthouse Ministries, Hair Artistry Indy, Inner Beauty Program Incorporated, New Breed of Youth, Lighthouse Academy Charter School South, Sam Ash Music Store, Beach Grove Bible Church, Andre Speed and Company presents the First Glimpse event, DP DeMarco Plays presents He Beats Me Because He Loves Me stage play. And as always, please make sure to catch all of our sponsors live on our Facebook stream, which is going right now on Facebook at Insight Sundays. Once again, that is Facebook at Insight Sundays. You can get all the good information about what's going on here with all of our sponsors and here in the city, as well as YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, all at the title of Insight Sundays. All right, Indianapolis, we have another star-studded show for you guys today. In the house, we have Judge Geoffery Gaither's in the house, and we also have his wife, Mrs. Kiki Gaither's, and you're an attorney too as well here in Indianapolis?
I certainly hope so.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
If not.
Oh, boy.
That's all right. All right. So I know that we have some fantastic, great events that you guys are going to be putting on here in the month of October here coming up here in the next couple of days or next couple of weeks, I should say. So I want to know we can start here with Mr. Gaither's here and we can work our way around. What's the origin of these events? How did it get started? And what was the inspiration to start yours, the male one?
Well, first, good afternoon, Indianapolis. The Male Mentoring Conference, this is the very first year for this effort. It started actually when the Department of Child Services approached me and asked if I would put on this effort. And basically because this is the third year for the Young Women's Empowerment Conference. We started 3 years ago just doing something for young ladies. It just seemed as if that all the efforts, all the programs, all the focus was on young men. Mm-hmm. And I went home one day and I said, baby, it just seems like everybody's doing something for the fellas. Nobody's doing something for our young ladies. Mm-hmm. And, as a person, my wife and I, we only have 3 children. Well, not only, but we have 3 children. Mm-hmm. They're all boys. We don't have girls. And I was just noticing there seems to be an absence of focus or direction toward young girls. So we started the Young Women's Empowerment Conference 2015.
Awesome.
And we did it again in 16 and now here in 17. And between then and now, DCS said, hey, let's do this for the boys. Mm-hmm. So now we added the boys piece to it. And so this will be the first annual Male Mentoring Conference 2017. It's going to be held at Warren Central High School on October 14th.
Okay.
Now, the beauty of this, the Male Mentoring Conference effort, is 2 things will happen. Mm-hmm. One is we're going to, the intent is to gather all men who are providing mentoring services and all agency who provide mentoring services to come together at one place and talk about what it is to be a mentor. Talk about do's and don'ts. Mm-hmm. Let's not reinvent the wheel. How can we be a better mentor? Mm-hmm. How can we better mentor children with, let's say, sexually maladaptive behaviors or kids that are deeply involved in thug life or kids that have low-grade mental health issues? Mm-hmm. How you mentor that child is a little different how you mentor a high achiever. Mm-hmm. Also, at the same time, we're going to talk about contract compliance issues, how to get a mentoring contract, how to keep a mentoring contract. What are some of the do's and don'ts about contract compliance? What are court expectations? What are probation expectations? What are professional expectations?
Absolutely.
Now, this whole mentoring effort is going to be moderated by our own Steve Jefferson at WTHR.
Okay.
And so now, while that's happening at the Walker Career Center at Warren Central, at the same time, at the same place, the young men who receive mentoring services or any other young man, the program and the effort is completely open to anybody. Any other young man who registers and shows up, they're going to have just a whole big old fun. We have workshops on athletics and education, acting improvisation that's going to be sponsored or hosted by the Asante Children's Theater. We have a workshop on business, career, and education, a workshop on truth and change that we have from an ex-offender. So talks about once you get into trouble, how to get out of trouble, how to stay out of trouble. We're going to have man cave conversations. Now, all of these workshops are interactive. It's not going to be where kids sit here and adults are just lecturing too. No, it's going to be back and forth.
Gotcha.
Mr. Testimony is going to come by and do some spoken word and healthy relationships. You know, we got to just do better in our relationships for our young ladies.
Okay, I'm going to swing around here to Mrs. Gaithers here. I know that your event is on a different day. I know we hit on a lot of good topics, but there was something that I seen on yours that was called breakout sessions. Is that something, intuitive with that, or what's going on with your event?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
No problem.
And, I have to say for all the wives, husbands always can reimagine history, can't they?
Yes.
Oh,
As
here we go.
me having, and I will sum this up really quickly. All I know is, as the person who carried each of those 3 boys and went into labor for 50 some odd hours plus on all of them, he's always going to these events for young men. And so I'm extra sensitive to that, as well as, not having any girls. And I said, we need to do something for the girls. Yeah. And here's what, so it's a collaboration. He got it going being in his position as a senior magistrate at juvenile court. And a lot of that comes from, I'll talk about my mother. We call her Mama Mac, Julia McAlpine. She's 95 years old. And to wrap it up, she did not have a very good relationship with her father. To this day, stuff that happened 85 years ago, she cannot, those are demons that she can't release. So even when my clients come in and they're men, I say, you make sure that you have a positive relationship with your daughters, with all your kids.
So
but
important.
you know that young ladies, including the ones who are coming to this conference on October 21st.
Yes.
With, a week after the young men.
Also at Warren Central.
Also at Warren Central. Try and get across to them, because it first started out with young ladies and their families who were in the system somewhere. A lot of them had cases. They were on probation. But you would never know it. They are so bright-eyed and willing to learn. Sometimes you got to help them along the way. But some of the breakout sessions that we have are like Cake Boss, where you get to kind of like, decorate a cake.
That sounds like fun.
Kind of like, I know. 'Cause I
You
don't-
wanted to do that with cake. I was hungry.
We love fashion shows like Project Runway, and so we have something similar to that. Nikki Blaine.
Nikki Blaine,
Yes,
yes,
I remember.
yes.
Yep. I've heard that name
Wonderful
before.
Nikki
Absolutely. Shout out
Blaine.
to Nikki.
Oh, yes. She is going to be over that self-defense, healthy relationships also, because that's a two-way street. Men and young men, boys, they have to know how to treat women so they become good husbands and providers. Shout out to the 100 and Jack and Jill at Win the Botillion.
It's
That's
important
what
to say
they do.
they should become husbands before they become fathers.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Editorial comment.
That's healthy relationships. I think that will put in there.
Right.
Hip hop, cheerleading, line dancing, and also there's something for the women who bring these young ladies. There's gonna be,
yes.
Well, hey, we can line dance in the hallway. But anyway, parent pampering. There's going to be Zumba in the morning with Dr. Hutchison, and it's going to be free breakfast and lunch, and that's going to be provided by Wingstop, and there'll be games, prizes, and many other surprises. And the fascinating individual, Maja Zion, former prosecutor here in Marion County,
our guest speaker,
has just accepted a position down in Evansville. I'm sorry, I can't remember the county.
All right.
But, she's doing domestic violence. She's like a little sister to me, a little niece. We're playwrights and everything. But the whole point, Maja, if you've never heard her speak, it is incredible.
Her testimony is so powerful.
Because, and especially right now, because she is a former Miss West Africa and former Miss Liberia, and she gave up the Miss West Africa title to come to law school here.
Gotcha.
Down in Bloomington,
I see.
and she's a former refugee.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So-
she's
Wow.
a survivor of civil war in Liberia, and now she's here. So her testimony is so powerful.
Well, I'm so glad that you mentioned about men being a part of their daughters' lives as early as possible. Because me myself, I know you guys said you didn't have any girls, but I just had my first girl in January. So I try to make sure I make an impression in her life.
Good for
very,
you.
very, very early. Been there since day one.
Oh, man.
And will continue
Yes.
to be there forevermore. So we're going to take a quick break. It'll be the only break for the show. Once again, you can tune in with us live on Facebook. Once again, tune in with us live on Facebook at the title of Insight Sundays. Catch us on YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. We will be right back. Welcome back to Insight Sundays right here on AM 1310 The Light. As always, we want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors. If you want to catch at all that information, please go to our Facebook page right now at Insight Sundays. Once again, that is Facebook at Insight Sundays, and you can get all that good information and watch the broadcast right now live as we speak. We're going to pick right back up here in the show. And my next question is for our judge that we have in the building today. And my question is what motivated you to become a juvenile court judge?
Oh, wow. Truth of the matter, I went to law school at Howard University.
Awesome.
And when I graduated, my goal was to be a real estate developer.
Okay.
The last thing I wanted to do was do anything with family law or be a judge. And but life and fate always have and the good Lord always
calling.
have a different plan. So apparently my plan didn't align with the Lord's plan. So I'm like, oh, okay, I understand
We
now.
see how that worked out.
Yeah.
He will let you know.
Right, a number of times, and the opportunity came its way, and I went home, and as I do, I talked to my baby, and I said, this opportunity to come on, and she looked at me like I was crazy, like fool. Of course you're going to do that, and so I accepted the opportunity. This was in 1995, and I was judge at that time. Judge Payne, who was the presiding judge of the juvenile court, extended the offer to me. I accepted, and here I am 22 plus years later, still going.
All right. And I guess same question for you. What inspired you to become an attorney, and which practice do you do?
And once again, I have to help, clarify the record. I was carrying child number 2, and I was in law school in Detroit.
Okay.
And I will say to people, never let no stop you from being, the best you. And I don't know the name of that song, but the young lady singing the best of her and all that other stuff. But because the law school here said no, and the ones that said yes, they were, away.
Yeah.
But luckily, I always wanted to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And my senior year in high school, right before graduation, my older brother, a couple years older than me, he was murdered by his best friend. And so that just, said I want to be a lawyer. But before, I did that, became a lawyer, I was in journalism. I was in television, and I've done a number of things. And so when I started dating him, he was a prosecutor here in Marion County.
Gotcha.
And, I'm all on current news. I'm a news producer, top 10 market, and writer. And so he gets on me because I don't know all of the 9 justices on the Supreme Court. And so, I'll show you. I'm going to law school, and I went.
Be a news producer. I'm like, that's some basic things you're supposed to know.
Well, let me tell you something. Anyway, God is great, isn't he? And so I practice just about everything. And I'm at 317-777-1826.
Okay.
So.
All right. Mr. Gaither,
Yes, sir.
George Gaither, I
Yes,
should
sir.
say. I know that you deal with a variety of different cases.
Yes.
With young men and
Yes.
young ladies too as well. From your perspective, what would make a good, solid role model for people to be in their lives? Because we have, I won't say all of them, but there are some organizations,
Right.
or some family members who really just don't look out for them all the way. And I know you kind of get what I mean by that when you see different court-related cases, different things like that. So what would be a good, solid foundation of a role model that you would recommend for a male or a young lady?
Well, I tell you this. Our community, as in every community, is so multifaceted that there can't be just one for everybody. The best role model is the biological father married to the biological mother in the same home.
Yes.
At the same time.
Yep.
There can be no better role model than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I could do one thing, if I had one power, that would be it. I mean, that is the greatest factor in determining whether or not the child is going to end up in juvenile court or worse, or whether or not the child is going to have an improved outcomes. Fathers need to stay in the home. And more importantly, as I mentioned earlier, fathers need to become husbands before they become fathers. You know, there's a whole chronology about this whole thing that makes sense.
Yes.
And it's successful.
Yes.
It's been tried, it's true, and it works.
Yes.
It's when boys become men and then they become husbands and then they become fathers. If we could just do that, you'd be surprised how much improvement we would have in our own communities and our own lives. And so I guess the short answer is they're really anybody, but just daddy staying home.
Daddy staying home?
Well,
Stay home,
and then daddy, have a decent job, prepare yourself.
Yes.
Sometimes there are a number of attorneys. We have had teenagers come in who've been sexually active, and you know this, tweens.
Yeah.
And they come in as fathers and mothers at 14. You know, you were still finding out who you were.
Hey,
Yeah.
At 14.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And so, and these cases are going to court. A lot of times they get mediated out, and the courts have, in most cases, have found it is in the best interest of the child for the parents to stay in school, go to college. If you can get in there,
Absolutely.
and just get up and work. Get up and work. And just remember, it's not about you. Put your children first. If you're clubbing, I don't care if you get mad at me or what, you need to stop and put your kids first.
Absolutely.
Put away the drinks and the drugs and everything else, and put your children first.
But the concept is sacrifice. I mean, oh yeah, Big Daddy. Now that you have a daughter's world, if you didn't already know, life as you know it is over.
Yes.
You're done.
It's changed.
Everything is about little girl.
I'm already doing princess birthday parties.
Yes. Do your high teas and wear the foo-foo hats and all. You just got to do it.
Because I adopt little girls. I do that.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. How is it working with Crystal Hines with Inner Beauty? How's it been working with her?
I just so love Crystal.
Yeah, we both love Crystal.
We just love Crystal and her husband Kareem. As a matter of fact, we did a project about 2 months ago.
Yes.
Out there with Inner Beauty, and it's something that we do.
I think it was the night of sophistication.
We were there for that.
Okay.
We were there for that, but
it was after that we did a program.
Yes, this program, and I've done it in schools and churches, and in community groups where we take kids, and my youngest kids were in the 4th grade, and we give them a scenario, and we make them be lawyers and judges on a moment's notice.
Yeah.
And
we role play.
Yeah, we role play, and it is just amazing how the teachers will come back, or they'll call and send messages about the self-esteem. It's a lot of kids who weren't speaking up, and class participation, that's part of a grade. I mean, they find more confidence, and so that's what we did with Crystal, and we support her. We've both been judges at the beauty pageant that they have.
Right. Yeah.
And I am just amazed at the fantastic job that she does.
Yeah, and they really do an awesome job.
Yeah, don't leave out Kareem. I mean,
that's what I say because
Kareem.
I was taping, and I do remember you speaking at the night of sophistication.
There you go.
So how does it feel working, with Mr. Kareem and the job that he does with
Wait
the
a
young
minute,
men?
but before he says that, you can't forget Robert Jackson, who is your guest speaker.
Oh yeah,
for
but
the conference.
and I did leave him out. Robert Jackson is going to be our guest speaker
at the male conference.
At the male conference,
He's
and
awesome.
The guy is internationally known as an awesome speaker, motivator extraordinaire. So I expect him to really bring the power and the energy.
Okay.
And I tell you, but Kareem and New Boy really was the motivation behind how this conference was being structured. Because I had many conversations with Kareem about the male mentoring piece, and initially I had him playing more of a prominent role in it. But I said, no, I want him to be a participant, so I certainly want other mentors to hear his voice and to learn from his experiences. So I expect him to be there. And as I say, and Crystal is hosting or putting together the parent pampering aspect of the Young Women's Conference, and you know, I don't know what it is, but both Crystal and Kareem have it, and so I'm going to use it to spread it all to the boys and girls in the conference. But no, let me also say this real quick. The conference is open to everybody. We want the young kids to register. Just don't show up.
Yes.
Register, please. Go to Eventbrite. The girls should register at YWEC 2017, which is Young Women's Empowerment Conference. The boys should register at MMC 2017, which is Male Mentoring Conference 2017, at Eventbrite. So go to Eventbrite.
Perfect.
And register.
And it starts
now.
No.
The time for the event. Time for the event.
The doors open at 7:30.
On what day?
October 14th for the boys.
Okay.
October 21st for the girls.
Awesome.
At Warren Central.
Warren Central
Both
High
at
School.
Warren Central High
Both
School.
at Warren Central.
And time for yours too as well for the young ladies
Same,
on the 21st?
same time.
All right, Indianapolis, there you have it. We have two great mentoring events coming up by two dynamic groups and organizations. Please make sure you go out to Warren Central High School and check out these events. As always, you can catch us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Snapchat, and Twitter, all at Insight Sundays to catch all the recaps and all the good information. We will check you guys out next week.
Thank you, DCS.